All right. What's my message? We are imperfect forever. Don't forget that. Don't try to deny that. And be thankful for that. It would be terrible to be perfect. There's a great line. There was a really good show called The Mary Tyler Moore Show. And in that, at one point, she's this really good woman in a lot of ways, at work and at home and in social life. And at one point, her friend Rhoda says, "Oh, Mary, you're perfect." And Mary gets really mad. Says, "That's a terrible thing to say to somebody." It is a terrible thing because nobody's perfect. If you set them up on this pedestal, oh, look at them, you're asking them to fall. Or when they do fall, you're like, oh, look, there's so much. You're disappointed that they're human. You're disappointed they failed. They made a mistake, which you will make every day, which I make every day. Try to make them smaller. Try to be better people, but never forget nobody's perfect. You know, those without sin cast the first stone. It's easier to see the log in your neighbor's eye rather than no. It's easier to see the dust in your neighbor's eye rather than the log or the mote or the stick in your own. It's easy to judge. It's hard for us to judge ourselves. That's why some of the best politicians, or really some of the best people, self-deprecating, make fun of themselves, understand their faults. There's a documentary I saw of a Aboriginal tribe that was really hungry, almost starving for meat. And so they went hunting, and a guy killed a pig and brought it back. And what did they do? They all said, "That little pig, that's what they put him down in order to keep pride down, self-pride. Instead of saying, I fed the village, look at me. They're making sure nobody gets too much self-pride. So you're always, how can I help somebody else? How you treat the least of mine is how you treat me. This idea that service will make you happy and make a better community. You make a better community, there's going to be more happiness. I was studying about happiness this morning, and the happiest countries, a lot of them, the government is the people, right? So the people decide we need health care, we need public transit, we need public spaces, parks, support, affordable housing, even if it's publicly funded, and decent, not raggedy pieces of shit, which gets built in a lot of places. Some of the projects in New York are like that. We build these projects not in a humane way, not thinking these people deserve a decent life. So anyway, the happiest countries take care of each other. Surprise? That's not a surprise. But my main preaching today is it's okay to be imperfect and make mistakes. And one thing I like about painting, I do some watercolors, is sometimes you paint and maybe you come back the next day and do a little more, and you're just kind of, it doesn't feel right, and you do more, and at a certain point you just tear it up, you throw it away. And that helps me, teach me, hey, sometimes what you do doesn't work out. That doesn't mean stop painting, because some of your paintings you're like, I don't like that at all. Or some songs don't work out. That's life, that's reality, and that's the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to fail sometimes. And just follow your path, follow your heart, love each other, love yourself. When I say follow your heart kind of will lead you. It's not going to write you a letter. You can't read the words, but you can kind of understand. I'm in France right now because my heart led me here. For a number of years I've been telling people I like the French way of life. I want to walk places. I want to go to the market and get fresh food. I like this idea of cafes and people coming together and talking. And as I've said before, they don't use the phone as much around here. When they're at the cafes, lots of times in America, I'll see people at a coffee shop, on the phone, on the laptop. I don't see that so much here. I think socially they're like, hey, we're supposed to talk. We're supposed to be a part of a family or a community, family of souls. And I need that. I need that. At my age and single, older people, everybody, lots of people are lonely. Older people are lonely. We don't have the social connections we used to have. A lot of the younger generation is lonely. We have to help them have a better life and support them, and when they leave home, have an affordable apartment to rent and a decent job that doesn't work them to death and make them feel disrespected. In France, it's a 35-hour work week. Maybe it should be 30. With technology and robotics and AI, automation, some of these jobs are going to be done by computers and robots, and that's okay, especially the bad jobs, the hard jobs. But we need to find jobs for everybody else and not just act like, oh, you're lucky you've got a job that makes $100,000 a year. And then a lot of these jobs make $30,000 a year. That's not right. We need to be a more equal society, worried about each other, caring about each other. America has lost that. We're very individualistic and me, and what can I get? And the government right now is so corrupt and so taking money here and there, and a lot of the media trying to buy influence, and they'll tell lies, they don't care. A lot of the media is owned by billionaires. What are they going to say? Inequality is bad. No, they're not going to say that. They're going to talk about some bullshit. They're going to hide, They're not going to say climate change is destroying the earth, because they probably have a lot of investments in fossil fuels. Or if they don't, some of their largest investors do. And says, don't you be talking about that, or we'll take out our money. So we have a lot of challenges. But the way to go through this life is together. And we're facing a lot of roughness. The British call homelessness sleeping rough. I don't like that because it's worse than that. It's worse than sleeping rough. You sleep inside on a cot on the floor and you don't sleep well. That's sleeping rough. Sleeping outside is scary and deadly. We talk about the mentally ill that are homeless. Well, if me or you were homeless for a week, 2 weeks, that would push us higher, into a deeper type of mental illness. Mental illness is sad, maybe sadness or depression. There's a lot of levels. I feel sad. Is that low-level mental illness? But the extreme levels we need to, like they have said, and studies have shown, You want homelessness, dealt with effectively. You give them treatment. You give them housing. You're going, yeah, you're giving these people. All right, well, quit complaining about the homelessness if you're not going to try to solve it. You seem to be able to give tax breaks to billionaires and watch billionaires get more and more money. You don't seem to worry about that. You think they've earned it. They've earned it, even though through centuries, we, the people, the working people, have built every country, every country, and sustained this country and every country in community. And during the wars, we fight and die and kill. So to reward the few with all this treasure and the many, are moving downward, that's immoral. That's immoral. Unholy. We can't just say, I don't know economics. Well, then learn. Then figure it out. Don't watch so much sports. Don't worry so much about fashion or shopping. Don't watch just the hateful billionaire media that never talks about the biggest issues of inequality, concentrated wealth, climate change, and housing right now, and healthcare. I'm going to run out of fingers for all the things that we need to face that we're not facing. That's kind of a lot of countries are democracy, so it's on our shoulders. It's us. We're creating more problems for ourselves by not being better citizens. I taught government. It's hard to be a good citizen. There's just so much to try to understand and discuss and decide and vote and then have policy and legislation and law. Get used to it. And stand up for it and help support us, help carry the load, help carry this load of humanity and trying to live on a planet with 8.3 billion people and declining resources and declining environmental integrity, mass extinction, which is pretty unholy. If you believe in God, this idea that God, the holy creation, God created everything, and now we're killing off a bunch of it. A lot of the diversity, it seems to be God's ways, the diversity of life, diversity of skin color. But some of us hate people with different skin color, or we don't care about life forms that we're destroying through climate change and burning fossil fuels, which we continue to do, and not really worry about other things. It's going to hurt our economy. You're going to hurt generations to come. You're going to hurt planet Earth by not being grown up and responsible citizens. Hallelujah. Let's go. All right. And again, my imperfections, I just go off on tangents, but that's the way I was made, I guess. And I try to do it well without speaking idiocy or cruelty. Our government right now is really cruel in America, wanting people to feel pain. They even say that. They also say they like Jesus, but they want these people to feel pain. You figure that out, how that goes together, because it doesn't go together. It's called hypocrisy. It's called lies. False piety. So what are some of the mistakes I make? And my example is for you, that just follow your heart, and a lot of that is what you enjoy. I enjoy writing, So I just got back from the library. I just printed out a lot of things, some lyrics, mainly lyrics, ideas. One thing is about the 7 Years' War, 1756 to 63. And because the British defeated the French and gained all this land in America, they needed to pay for the war. They needed to pay for soldiers that were going to be stationed in this new land. So that's when they had the Stamp Act, and the colonists saying, "Why are you taxing us on all this stuff?" And so one of the reasons that the Revolutionary War happened was the war before it, the 7 Years' War. And the British had to pay for that. So they taxed us. And we said, "Why are you taxing us?" As well as they defeated the French. Possibly Native Americans as well were an issue where the colonists were saying, "We needed you to protect us before, but now we don't." They won the war, so it's like, hey, it's not like it used to be. We have, a little more safety, so now we don't need you. And they're saying, "Yeah, but you got to pay." So, no. Anyway, what's one of the things I was looking at? 71% of the Earth's surface is covered by water. So if we heat up this place and heat up the oceans, that's going to have some big impact on wind currents, ocean currents, and whether a country has 4 seasons and whether it gets to 0 during the winter or -50. It's life and death. We're not dealing with climate change. This is life and death. I'm sorry. It's on our watch. My father and mother are gone. It didn't happen on their watch. It happened on my watch and your watch. So let's get up and deal with it. Okay, so anyway, that's what I like to do. So here's what I did today. Here is a bunch of lyrics and ideas. How do I do that? There it is. Now the funny thing in a way, I'll never get to all of this. I'll never write that many songs. Now part of me wants to write a book of poetry on a lot of this stuff that doesn't work out as a song. Maybe I can make it into some type of poetry. That may happen, I don't know. Here's a list and some ideas. I wrote down the list of open mics in Toulouse. Have I gone to one? No. Will I? I don't know. Wrote down a couple of restaurants, although restaurants are kind of expensive, so I cook here. Anyway, this idea that sometimes we do things that we end up not, you could say it's wasted time. So see on the couch, that's a bunch of information and research I've done on the Constitution and not so much the Revolution. Let's just say 1775 to 1790, something like that. I'm more interested in the Constitution, 1787, but not ratified till, I forget if it's 88 or 89. And some, it depends on, what do we need? 9 out of 13 colonies to ratify it before it became real. But it's an interesting time, and one rabbit hole you go down, of course, when you research things, is, okay, I'll look at the Revolutionary War. But then, of course, you see something, you go, oh, I need to look at the Stamp Act. So instead of going 1775, you got to go back to 1765. And actually, a couple of books I've read a while ago. This is funny. I mailed a number of books here so it would help me organize, but they were lost in the mail, I guess. But maybe it's a good thing because I'd be overwhelmed. The Colonial Experience by David Hawke. That's a good book. Long, 700 pages. But it tells you about the 1500s, the 1600s, the early 1700s, I guess. But it's more about the colonialism of Britain and France and what was happening before America. And it's good to know that and know what was happening and how hard it was and how most of the people that came here were poor, many indentured servants, many slaves, and many wars with the Native Americans, of course. If you're taking my land, I'd fight. And many massacres. So it's kind of sad. I mean, it's I don't know how you couldn't say it was a sad story. These people that want to lie and not tell the truth about history, how can you trust them? I don't trust anybody that wants to lie. So this idea that everything's happy in America through our history, my God, some of them are saying slavery wasn't so bad. Some people in the churches are saying that. I saw a preacher talking about that. Oh my God. Wow. There's a lot of hypocrisy in America right now. But luckily, a lot of good people are starting to stand up and starting to say, man, we got to get active. They probably haven't been active. To be a good citizen, there's no time off. Or maybe you take a vacation, but when you come back, it's happening again. You'll never outgrow it. Being a good citizen, we have to be engaged, informed, civil, caring about each other and the earth. As imperfect as we are, we have great qualities, great potentials, great powers of light, for we are light. Unbelievable life forms in a sea of darkness. This gigantic universe. Here we are, this beautiful life form on a beautiful planet. We're really lucky. We're somewhat overwhelmed. And the fever of greed has destroyed a lot and continues to destroy. And until we effectively fight back and take control for the people and the planet and humanity, greed is going to keep destroying things out of a psychotic fever. Psychopaths, basically. Sociopaths. All they're saying is me, 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 me. It's sickness. And out of that, I think, grows or is promoted hatred and racism and sexism and fear. I'm not sure why all these religions, which are run by men, say God is a man when the creator of us is a woman. A woman created me. A woman created you. But for some reason, men have written the religions to say men are in control and God is a man. Yeah, I think God used that word. If we want to use that word, that's fine. The creator, the master, that helped create this universe of endless space 15 billion years ago? I forget. Pretty amazing, unbelievable, unknowable. How, what was it called? Singularity. A singularity. A singularity. Little, I don't even know what that means in a way. But that explodes into the Big Bang, into the universe. What was before of the singularity? I think they say nothing. And that's interesting. It's all, of course, just so interesting. But it's not as important as food, water, housing, safety, healthcare, energy, community, jobs, public transportation. I'm not throwing gang signs, I'm just counting. Gang of humanity. Let's all be in the gang of humanity. Love you.